just as the body is one, and this is his famous analogy of the body of Christ, as the church as the body of Christ. For just as the body, human body, is one and has many, many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ. So remember, now we're talking about gifts, and now he says, think of all these gifts in a way, think of yourselves and your talents as body parts. For in the one Spirit, we were baptized into one body, Jews or Greeks, slaves or free, and we are all made to drink one Spirit. Then he moves on and he has the body parts talk to one another, friends. These are talking body parts. I don't know if you've ever had a Mr. Potato Head, but you can take the body parts apart in a Mr. Potato Head. They are still sold. Um, and and the foot and hand, the foot is saying to the hand, you know what, I'm not a hand, therefore I don't really belong to the body. And the ear is saying, love to be an eye. I'm not one of those. So I must not belong to the body. We've got two parts that are saying, oh, I'm nothing because I'm not the famous parts. I'm not a hand and I'm not an eye. Now, I want you to think for a second what attitude Paul might be trying to represent in this body in Corinth. What kind of people in the community, in the living room in Corinth that's listening to this read out, what is the attitude that a foot has and an ear has? And Paul undoubtedly has Corinthians in mind as he says this. Some of them are saying, in a sort of uh, wrong use of humble pie, some of them are saying, you know what? You really don't need me around here. I'm not up to it because I don't have the spectacular gifts. I don't have the ones that everybody wants to have. I'm just a foot. I'm not a hand. I'm just an ear. I'm not an eye. This is sort of a diminishment of one's own gifts. Paul thinks this is happening in Corinth. You and I both know that it's happening in churches we inhabit and sometimes in ourselves, right? We know and can picture people who disqualify themselves because they don't have spectacular abilities, or they just don't feel like they bring anything to the party, right? Paul goes at that person first and says, every part of the body is important. If the whole body were an eye, where would the hearing be? The whole body were hearing, where would the sense of smell be? As it is, God arranged the members in the body, each one of them as he chose. So, Paul is presenting the sort of ludicrous picture that by your logic, Corinthian humble pie people, we would have 100 eyes and no kidney, right? We need a kidney, and you know you need the parts of your body, so stop it. This is trying to head off at the pass, undervaluing the gifts God has given. Now let's go to a second attitude. The eye can't say to the hand, says Paul, I have no need of you. And the head can't say to the feet, I have no need of you. What attitude is this? Well, it sounds like arrogance akin to earlier Corinthian manifestations of arrogance in this book. Remember now, you're arrogant and you've got a man sleeping with his father's wife and you haven't done anything about it. Other arrogance shows up in the ability to stay celibate within marriage. Paul says you're not up to it, right? Throughout, we've had arrogance rear its ugly head. So Paul undoubtedly has people in mind when he names this eye who is speaking, oh, I have no need of a hand, and a head that's speaking, I have no need of a foot, right? But God has so arranged the body, giving the greater honor to the inferior member, that there may be no dissension within the body, but the members may have the same care for one another. If one member suffers, all suffer together with it. If one member is honored, all rejoice together with it. Do you see how he started with gifts delineated, and now he's moved this to the logic of the human body and tried by undertone to say, each of you is utterly important. If you don't bring your gift, the team suffers. That makes sense? So Now we've kind of gotten the body image in play here. And now you are the body of Christ and individually members of it. And God has appointed in the church. Now, notice the difference between the first list that we saw, where it was just kind of random and they're all from the same Lord and they're all from the same Spirit. First, apostles, there's a number given to it. Second, prophets. Third, teachers. Then, deeds of power. Then, gifts of healing, forms of assistance, forms of leadership. And what's last? Various kinds of tongues. We'll get back to that in a little bit, but notice that now he's got numbers in front of them and he's kind of transitioning into why would we value some over others?